Sure. Thanks for having me. My name's Christine Redd. I am the current VP of Talent for Alert Media. I have been recruiting for, probably well over 20 years now, and have seen a lot of different changes within the industry, and the roller coaster that this is. Have worked on all sides and all capacities. So from privately held companies to publicly held companies, to owning my own agency, to working for agencies. And I've been in a leadership role for, I don't know, probably 10 or 12 years at this point. So excited to be here and discuss, all the different nuances of recruiting. Yeah, absolutely. I'm a big fan of time blocking. I think we just, as people, tend to underestimate how long it takes us to do things. So, having enough time to do phone interviews and follow up and put in your notes into your ATS and any meetings and projects. And so I think it's really key to plan out your week, your day, leave enough time in there to reprioritize just so things don't slip through the cracks. I find the more organized recruiters are the more successful recruiters that I've come across. I think you could prevent a lot of ghosting by really working on the relationship build. If you spend enough time getting to know your candidates more on a personal level, you start that emotional connection, and it's much harder to ghost somebody when you really like someone. So don't just be a recruiter. They should know your name, maybe a little bit about you. Texting definitely helps. So being able to text each other and say, hey, good luck today on your interview, or hey, how was it? That sets yourself apart from just any other recruiter. So that's how I would handle. I would honestly just try to prevent it. Is it going to happen every once in a while? It's going to happen. But texting, calling, don't just rely on email. I think a lot of people tend to rely on email, and I don't know about anybody else, but in these days, my personal email full of junk. So I don't check it a whole lot. Sure. I think it's probably no surprise. LinkedIn is going to always be the gold standard, I think, right? In our industry. Aside from LinkedIn, referrals are key. So it's really important that with the candidates that you have, you're also asking them for good referrals. The candidates that you place, you still maintain contact with them. It's not like, done, you're hired, see you later. So referrals are really, really effective. So networking with your candidates, networking with your current employees if you're on the corporate side, and asking, who do you know? A strong referral network is very helpful to hiring, and good people tend to know other good people. For harder to fill roles, if there's anybody in that role right now, or the hiring manager, ask them, where do they hang out? What are some areas? Are they more on Twitter? Are there certain podcasts that they listen to? All of those, just to kind of go at it a little bit more creatively, because there are some very difficult niche roles out there and that take a little bit more digging, right? You also have people on LinkedIn that don't want to be found. So sometimes you got to get a little creative. Yeah, for sure. I think you have to know, when you're looking at an executive search, it's truly going to likely be a hunt, right? You're probably reaching out to them. It's going to take more conversation. So know that it's going to take time. Talk to your hiring managers and explain that we need to take that time to develop those relationships, and get to know the candidate. Maybe they aren't looking, but if they were considering looking, what would that look like? And then be able to connect the dots. So I would probably say, on an executive search, I'm probably talking to candidates 2 to 3 times more often than, say, a non-executive search. So a lot more conversations, a lot more texting, checking in, making sure along the way, along the process, are they comfortable? What kinds of questions? Because they're going to have a million questions. I mean, I take it from myself. I would be the same way. I think you've probably heard me say it a million times, right? It's don't be super formal, have conversations. But in order just to get them on the phone, so I know when I get a phone call and I don't know the number, I'm not picking it up. I think that's probably 90% of us, right? We're used to getting telemarketing calls. I also know that a lot of the cell phone carriers now have spam filters. So if you're not saved in their contacts, it is going to voicemail anyways. So typically what I tend to recommend is to first text and say, hey, I'm going to be giving you a call here in about 10 minutes. Quickly, just really short text. Who are you? What is it about? If you don't know anybody, just looking, for a referral, again, I'm always like, it's 5 minutes. It's, nothing's ever wasted to me. Networking is life. So I have a better success rate getting somebody to pick up the phone if I text them first and then say, I'm calling you. It also gives them a chance to say, I'm in the middle of a meeting, give me a call at 4 p.m. That's an interesting question. I think shouting talents are your natural leaders that are hungry and driven, and that's good. And there's some downside to that, just because they're loud, right? They do tend to be noticeable. Whispering talent, though, lacks confidence, and it has nothing to do with their talent. So I would say they both have their pluses and minuses, to be honestly. I think I probably focus, looking through kind of my career and people that have reported to me, I probably focus on helping the confidence on those whispering talents, because you need confidence as a recruiter. You don't have confidence in our industry and you don't have a strong backbone, this is not the right industry for you. So I think there's a happy medium, right? I don't want super egotistical. I'm so great, but we do have to build confidence. So that's a good question, but I do think that there's a place for both if we can kind of meet in the middle. Yeah. This has definitely come, I think, really full circle in the last probably 5 years or so, more important. To me, data tells stories. So I can say, right, all I want, oh, we're not hitting the right compensation level, or you're looking for a purple squirrel and what you're looking for is just not out there. But I need to back that up with data. And so reporting, statistics, I mean, even DEI data, right? So that we can say, here's our efforts, here's where we're lacking, how do we get that to the next level? I think unfortunately, sometimes it's still manual. There is no great tool that has everything that I have found in it. There's different pieces that, I tend to pull in and then dump it all into Excel and then make it look pretty. So, utilizing your different tools that you have. And I always tell others that just don't, maybe they're starting out, or they're at a startup and they don't have access to all the fancy tools. Excel's your friend. Start recording. You talk to 20 people. What's their background? How much do they want? What's their education? All of those things. At least you're compiling real life data at that point. And then you can produce that and use those as talking points with your hiring managers and your hiring team. Yeah. I mean, we're human. We're going to make mistakes, right? I think it starts with a really solid, detailed intake where you have your intake written out. It's kind of a standard platform, but you get deep. I don't like resume slingers, so listening to your hiring managers and having the conversation, if they want the Lamborghini for a Ford price, have that conversation up front and say, I'll go look for it, but we might have to bend here. But really, skill set wise, what are they truly looking for? And continue to go down. If it's a super technical role and you don't know what those technologies are, Google is your friend. Utilize it so you know what you're talking about. In those intakes, I think it's really important to ask hiring managers to have them give you 2 or 3 knockout questions. Like, what are the just to help them vet, right? And those might be those technical questions that you really wouldn't know what the answers are, but they can give you the question, they can give you the answer, something similar to that they're looking for to help you go even a level deeper on your own phone interviews. And so regular that along with maintaining regular communication with your hiring managers is key. So the first couple candidates, maybe throw the resume over and say, am I on the right track? Yes. Okay. After a couple interviews, being able to touch base regularly, I think is key.